Fills are building materials that could be reused or recycled.
For the sake of the environment, this has got to stop.
There is money available to help Hennepin County residents and their contractors do the right thing. Reuse and recycle the building material. You earn $400 per ton for materials saved on a partial deconstruction of your next remodeling project, and up to $9,000 for a full deconstruction in Hennepin County.
Fixtures and cabinets?
All the way down to stair treads and 2x4s.
Flooring?
We floor you all day long, sister. Materials are sold at Better Futures Reuse Warehouse at 2620 Minnehaha Avenue in Minneapolis.
Don't demolish, deconstruct. Do the right thing, get money back. You nailed it, brother.
That's D-nailed it. Wouldn't want to poke an eye out.
Check out betterfuturesminnesota.com. That's betterfuturesminnesota.com. And don't forget to shop the Reuse Warehouse.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we have wood stoves that qualify for the new 30% income tax credit. A great opportunity to get an efficient stove and heat with renewable energy.
Right now, avoid supply chain delays, avoid the fall rush, avoid bad weather installation, and save money because we are now discounting the price on all chimney parts you need for installation for any of Woodland's new stoves and fireplaces.
We can help you with the stove and the chimney planning. Want to do it yourself? We will help you determine all the parts needed with our installation know-how. We have been installing wood stoves and fireplaces for over 45 years.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood, gas, and electric units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. Save money. Take advantage of the spring and summer chimney discounts when you buy any fireplace product right now at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear skies tonight with a low of 70, then hot sunshine Saturday with a high of 95. Heat index could get up to 103. The locally owned Vinaigrette has been offering the finest olive oils and vinegars since 2009. That's Vinaigrette, Xerxes Avenue and 50th Street in Minneapolis, or at vinaigrettemn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings that wounded me.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local and national Native news and events, and as you know, Haley, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
You're absolutely right, Jacob. This portion of the show is supported by St. Paul Public Schools, now giving out signing bonuses. So make sure to check them out at spps.org.
Yeah, I'd love to get out there with them again. And I'm a former high school teacher. I had my alarm go off. It must be school time, but a former high school teacher. And I'd love to get back with them if I have the time and if I don't get reelected. Oh, well. Hey, we are here and it's Friday. We're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and she's on vacation here. So she's spending some time with us. We really, really appreciate it. And good to see you, State Senator Mary Kunesh of Minnesota.
Miigwech anybody, Robert and Matakiape, everybody. It's good to be here. Take a little break from vacay and catch up on things.
Yeah, so a lot going on. We are learning a lot of new words because we're indicting the former president and many things, and I love how the uh, Georgia people are doing it and statewide. So I don't know if you have any response to that, but it's just like justice needs to be served, and we all have to be treated the same, even though it's virtually impossible to treat Trump the same.
It just keeps evolving again. This whole evolution of this case is just phenomena. The whole part about Trump trying to invalidate everything
Right.
and overturn, even though we all know and he knows that he worked very hard and got a lot of people to jump on his bandwagon and overturn the elections. I don't know how he thinks he can get away with it. I mean, there's just so many counts against him and his associates, and it's not just the whole um, election overturned, but there was forgery and
Right.
racketeering. They were soliciting public officials to violate their oath of office, and like we said, it's not just Trump that's being
Mhm.
indicted. I think there were 18 other people, including Mark Meadows, his former White House chief of staff, of course, Rudy Giuliani, who
Okay.
just, I mean, he just morphed into something I don't know that we were ever thinking that he would, and of course, John Eastman. So, those federal charges are serious charges, and it was bizarre that I think at one point he was trying to create a policy or whatever where he could not forgive himself, but
Right. Pardon himself.
pardon himself. Yeah. And so I hope Georgia comes down really hard on them. I mean, the fact that they charged them and with the indictment, and uh,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
recognizing that he knowingly and fully joined the conspiracy to change that outcome. So we'll
right.
see.
Well, and Mary, I heard that if you add all the years that he could be convicted, it's something like 740 years and
Oh
six
my
months
gosh.
if he gets convicted to the extreme on each one of these charges across
Wow.
the Turtle Island here. It's just amazing, and I feel sorry. I don't know the whole story about this, but I feel sorry. There was some electors that Trump threw under the bus, and they were getting threats and all these
Hmm.
things about, I don't know if they were electors. I think they worked at the polling place, and he put their names out there and addresses, and they've got nothing but threats, and that's what he can do and his followers can do. So it's going to be interesting to watch here because I think a lot
Yeah.
of things are in the balance here, and thank goodness we got a great running state government right now.
Yeah. I mean, that intimidation and those threats to, the folks at the election people that ran the elections and manned the voting sites and that sort of thing, that's just scary. And how do we really
I think we had Mary's frozen, it looks like. Haley.
She is frozen.
people are always trying to get people to come in and do that? And
Yeah.
and the fact that he even like created in Georgia this whole slate of fake electors,
Yeah.
and they were supposed to be ones that were going to sign, the victory for that Trump won Georgia, and it was all a farce. And
Yeah.
everybody knows it, and yet he continues to say he's not guilty of these charges. So
Well, it's
we'll
taken a
see.
couple of years. It's taken a couple of years, state senator, to get this going. So I imagine they're crossing the T's and dotting the I's, seeing that it's taken so long because these were just more and more bizarre things. And not to dwell on this former president, but I remember he was in his second or third year of office, and they were keeping count that he had like over 10,000 lies in his speeches or whatever came out of his mouth, and it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. It I mean, it was like everything that ever came out of that man's mouth was untruths and misleading, and it just makes people's, it just gets their temper going in a lot of different ways on both sides of the story, because there still are a lot of Trump supporters, but those that are recognize what is going on and the threat to our democracy and the ability for the people to elect those people, their representatives, their governor, their president. I mean, that really, really, really was at the heart of it. And so, it's just really hard to see that we have come to this point, but I'm glad that they took their time. They did their homework. They did the research. They followed the law to the nth degree. And, if it's anybody else, they would be charged as well. So the fact that he's a supposedly very wealthy man, and the fact that he served as president of the United States should not bar him from the due process that everybody else in the United States needs to go through when something like this happens.
We only got a minute left in this segment, and I'm wondering if you ever had any talkings with Ada Deer, who just passed away in Wisconsin, one of the big native trailblazers. And I had a chance to meet her only a couple times because of my other job, state senator, and I know the lieutenant governor did a press release yesterday after her passing, 88 years old, and got her tribe reinstated and things like that. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that on the next segment.
Sure. And I'm going to bring a special guest in as well.
Oh, don't. Okay. All right, Mary. Hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Hoa.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
This is Chad, owner of AM 950, here to tell you about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If your home was hit with the most recent storms, trust the most well-reviewed exterior construction company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town, fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
Hot from 30 Bells on Main Street in Hopkins. My co-founder Tom and I developed our restaurant to celebrate everything Midwestern cuisine has to offer. Our upbeat neighborhood gathering place brings together bright personalities, bold recipes, clean ingredients, and craft spirits that play with unique flavors of the Midwest. The menu at 30 Bales is inspired by seasonal ingredients grown close to home. Some favorites include our devilish eggs, beet salad, short rib pot pie, and our decadent burgers. Join us for lunch, dinner, and weekend brunch. Go to 30bales.com to learn more.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we're back with State Senator Mary Kunesh, and Mary's done her own show. She's done the show here for Native Roots Radio. And what's really exciting is Mary has a guest with her right now. So I want to hand the show over to the state senator and talk to this groovy guest that she has with her. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I just shouted out the window of the cabin that I'm at for the week and brought my sister in. This is my sister, Patrice Kunesh. She's the commissioner for the administration of American Indians out in Washington, D.C. with the Biden administration. She's been traveling around like crazy these last couple of months and came back to Minnesota for a couple days of R&R here up at the lake. We're up north, about 2 hours from the Twin Cities, and it's been beautiful up here. It's a little cool today, but we've had some good family time and some really good R&R. And so my sister, Patrice Kunesh, and maybe you would just tell us where you just came from and where you're off to next.
Sure. And Petuvaste Mitikuapi. Yes, I'm the commissioner for the administration for Native Americans within the Administration for Children and Families at the Department of Health and Human Services. But I also like to share that I'm the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Native American Affairs at HHS. And I also oversee this intra-departmental council on Native American Affairs. So a lot of my work obviously involves the executive oversight of ANA, but I also am involved in policy work across HHS, which is really, really rewarding. And I just came back from Tulsa, Oklahoma, where we were conducting a tribal consultation on the Violence Against Women's Act. And this was sponsored by the Department of Justice. It was enormously well attended. Minnesota delegation was there. And I just truly commend everyone who is in this space, who are doing this work, and the incredible, sincere efforts made to end the violence, to prevent the violence, and to provide services to victims. I also have been spending a couple days on the Not Invisible Act Commission, and we are coming to the end of our field hearings, and we'll be drafting reports and recommendations. So this is really hard space to be in. And the week before that, another related area, human trafficking, I was able to participate in the HHS National Summit on Human Trafficking Prevention, where I facilitated a panel conversation. And one of my guests was Marissa Cummings from the Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. So there's lots of intersections with MMIP, VAWA, victim services, human trafficking. And, my heart goes out to all the families of these victims and for everyone who works in this area, because it's hard work. It's hard work, but it's really hard work.
And for just so that those that are listening, when we say VAWA, do you want to explain what VAWA is?
Yes, VAWA is the Violence Against Women Act, which was reauthorized when I was the Solicitor for Indian Affairs at the Department of the Interior, when President Biden was vice president. And in 2013, we got it reauthorized. And then subsequent to that, or maybe along with that, we got a new law passed called the Tribal Law and Order Act, which authorized tribes to exercise criminal jurisdiction over non-native perpetrators of violence and crime on the reservation. So these are incredibly important jurisdictional authorities and sort of all hands on deck from all areas of law enforcement and jurisdictional public safety people to really close the gaps in crime and violence in Indian country and against Native people.
And it's not just, you know, the crime part and the jurisdiction, but the Violence Against Women Act, VAWA, is also provides housing protections for people who are applying for or living in subsidized federal government housing, and they are victims of domestic violence. And that includes dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, and it's there to help keep them safe and reduce the likelihood that they will be re-victimized. But it's for women and children too, right?
It is. Well, it's actually for anyone. It also can include men. So earlier this summer, I was out at Standing Rock and I visited the Pretty Bird Woman shelter. And indeed, shelter housing is so important, not just in preventing trauma or crime or violence, but in recovery, a safe place. And housing is so scarce in many Native communities, and and housing's overcrowded, as we saw during COVID. So that's a really good point, Mary, to make that it's housing's a major component of solving many of these problems.
Yeah.
Well, it really must be
So
exciting
that's
to work for President Biden, because I feel like he's been the most progressive president we've had since FDR. It's the things that he's been doing with jobs and with Indian country has just been amazing.
Well, Robert, I truly agree with you, and often I share that I think this administration, and I've worked with the Obama administrations previously, and those administrations did tremendous work. But I think this administration has done the most, gone the furthest, pushed the boundaries, are really doing incredible things. And I think the goals and visions are set obviously by President Obama. I'm just so incredibly impressed with Vice President Kamala Harris. She did an amazing presentation speech on maternal health and maternal mortality, women dying during birth or after birth. And Native American women are some of the highest victims of maternal mortality, and she knows this. The support around the Brackeen ICWA decision, just phenomenal, and it was everybody out there, even before the decision, because of course we didn't know which way it would go. How are we going to address this and not let maybe even a negative decision interrupt or interfere with the services and our recognition of tribal sovereignty? So I truly believe this administration is incredibly sincere and focused and dedicated, and we're not giving up. This is sort of mid-term, right? And we're doubling down, it seems like, and even though people are tired because of the tremendous push on all fronts, economics and housing and health and human services, we've got so much more to do. So it's really exciting, it's really exhilarating, but we truly believe in this mission and working with everyone who share this mission, this goal too.
Right. Well, I really feel like the Biden administration, worried a little bit in the beginning, but he has all those years of experience, and not only as vice president, but being a lawmaker for all 40 years. He's really brought in the best and the brightest, as opposed to the last administration that were begging people that his mailman was on there or something. I don't know, but you know what I mean?
I have to agree with you there. So I was going to say he has set the vision and definitely the goals, but everyone that has come in to support it. And oftentimes Native people are sort of slotted into Native American positions and such. but we have Native people in all areas at all levels of the federal government, and I think that really makes a difference, that you're hearing sort of that wholesome, fulsome voice. And we're singing in chorus and melody and harmony. It's really quite beautiful.
Yeah. Mary,
it sounds like what happened here in Minnesota as well.
I was just going to say,
today was the Minnesota Indian Affairs gathering of all the leaders and state government, and I gave a little report about our session, and I have a document that lists all the good work that we did here in Minnesota for Indian country. It's 10 pages long. It's 10 pages long. Wow. And there's every, education, healthcare, housing, economic development. There was not one area that we didn't touch, returning sacred lands to the tribes. It was phenomenal. And I think we have that kind of encouragement, knowing that the federal government will support the work that we do here, and them as well. So it's good.
Well,
I will say Minnesota is on the map for so many things. When we talk about, especially in health and human services, right? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, we're here with Patrice Kunesh and State Senator Mary Kunesh, and we're getting a lot of really good information here. And Patrice, hopefully you can stay on a little bit longer. I know you can't wait to get into that swimming pool, but
the lake. It's the lake.
That's even better. No chlorine. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back after this short break. Haley,
stay with us.
Presents on the lake.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Believe it or not, barely a month from now, the kids will be back in school. So while you're getting some fresh looks for your kids before they head back, make sure to get a fresh look for your home too with my cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Carpets, tile, rugs, upholstery, basically every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, so it's time to call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. It's also the height of the summer allergy season, so it's the perfect time to get your air ducts cleaned. Get that nasty pollen and dust that's been swirling through your air conditioner out of your home. This month from Zero Res, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 and take $75 off an air duct cleaning. You owe it to yourself, your kids, and your home to get the fall off to a good start. Call Zero Res today, 952-ZERO-RES, or schedule an appointment at ZeroResMinnesota.com. Zero Res, backward or forward spells the same.
It's an absolute must for any true foodie. Vinaigrette at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis offers premium oils and vinegars for the most discriminating of tastes. This is Sarah Piepenberg, owner of Vinaigrette. We bottle on-site, there's no guesswork, and you get to taste test each and every oil and vinegar we offer. Our direct relationship with the growers ensures an uncompromised level of satisfaction. When you need to know you're cooking with the finest ingredients, first contact the independently owned Vinaigrette, 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Online at vinaigrettemn.com.
Don't drive too fast or you will miss Scott Jamama's Hot Barbecue. Scott Jamama's offers huge taste out of a little place. Located at 3 West Diamond Lake Road near the intersection of Nicollet Avenue and West Diamond Lake Road in Minneapolis, this tiny hole in the wall offers mouth-watering baby back ribs, grilled chicken, and half-pound pulled pork sandwiches. Don't forget to add the potato salad, spicy baked beans, twice-baked potatoes, and delicious desserts. Find their hours and full menu at scottjamamas.com.
The Senior Linkage Line is a free statewide service of the Minnesota Board on Aging, helping older Minnesotans and caregivers find answers and connect to services and supports. Questions about Medicare, transportation, looking to move to senior housing, overwhelmed with prescription drug plans? Call the Senior Linkage Line at 800-333-2433 or visit trellisconnects.org, where we help people optimize well-being as they age. That's trellisconnects.org.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clear skies tonight with a low of 70, then hot sunshine Saturday with a high of 95. Heat index could get up to 103. The locally owned Vinaigrette has been offering the finest olive oils and vinegars since 2009. That's Vinaigrette, Xerxes Avenue and 50th Street in Minneapolis, or at vinaigrettemn.com.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Yes, they do. Hey, we're here with State Senator, and it's a great Friday show here. I'm used to doing meetings on Zoom, I guess, but we are on the air, and we're with State Senator Mary Kunesh and her special guest, and welcome back, you two. And I know there's conversations that we'd love to talk about, so I'm going to hand it over to you, State Senator.
Sure. Well, we're just talking a little bit about the work that, the incredible work that Patrice is able to collaborate on in Washington, D.C., that hopefully will have positive effects here in Minnesota. And then, of course, the fantastic session and the positive impact that it has on that this last legislation has had on Indian country in Minnesota. But, as a state senator, I'm the first Native woman to serve as a state senator in Minnesota. Of course, we have three House members right now, Representative Jamie Becker-Finn, Representative Heather Keeler, Representative Leish Kozlowski, who are doing phenomenal work over there. We have our Lieutenant Governor, Peggy Flanagan, and we have Susan Allen, former representative. We're all women, Native women, who have been able to make a really positive difference in Minnesota for Indian country. And that hasn't been easy for women or men, no matter who, in any arena. But I just wanted to do a little memorial and recognition of the passing of Ada Deer, who, for every Native woman who is in a level of leadership, whether it's even being a parent or trying to mentor young folks, Ada Deer is one of those people that everyone looked up to. And her kindness, her thoughtfulness, her intuitiveness, her sincerity, her understanding of Indian country and the trauma, generational trauma, really it was the inspiration for so many Native folks as they moved through their careers and through leadership. And I was just talking with my sister Patrice here, who has worked out in Washington, D.C. at different levels at different times. And I said, I'm sure it was in Washington, D.C. when I was visiting Patrice at one time that I got to meet Ada. And I because I do have a really lasting, positive, warm impression of her. And my sister here was just saying that she had a really great conversation with Ada just about a year ago. Yeah.
I was working at the Native American Affairs. I'm sorry, I was working at the Native American Rights Fund last summer, and I had the opportunity to get on a phone call with Ada. And I worked with Ada many years ago, and I was just delighted that she remembered me and that we spent most of the time, going back through all of our different um, experiences together. Because I also got to see her when I was at the Department of Agriculture. We brought her in to talk about food sovereignty. But, it really struck me yesterday that we have lost a real legend in Indian country, because Ada she just was a force de vivre. She just had so much power. And I first met her when I was a young attorney, or a new attorney, at the Native American Rights Fund, and she was the chair of our board of directors. And I had never seen such an impressive woman. She's tall, she's very plain spoken, but she had such clarity of thought and conviction. And of course, she was determined. And it was then that I really learned her story of the Menominee tribe. It had gone through termination in the 1950s. The federal government just wiped it out, said, you are no longer a tribe. We no longer have a relationship with you, government to government relationship with you. And she said, no, that's not going, that's just like the way she would say it. No, that's not the way it's going to go. And she fought tooth and nail for restoration of the Menominee tribe. Well, the Menominee tribe was one of the wealthiest tribes in the country at that time. And of course, it had abundant forests and timber resources. And it was one of the reasons why it was targeted to be terminated, because of course they wanted those resources for exploitation. And so after a decade or so, or two, of fighting for restoration of federal status, the Menominee tribe became one of the poorest tribes in the country. Wow. And NARF was responsible for advocating, along with Ada and a lot of other people, for restoring the Menominee tribe. And not only did it restore that government to government relationship, we helped build the new constitution, the new governing structure. And that's where I got to know Ada. So just reliving sort of that nation building experience. And there was so much vision and so much conviction in her that it was going to get done, and they were going to recreate this amazing community. And I think for the most part she did. And then soon afterwards, she ran for Congress. And I remember her slogan, "Nobody runs like a deer." She ran for Congress. And her slogan was, "Nobody runs like a deer." And she was running. Ada Deer was always running. And then, of course, she became the first woman to head up the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And so here's a leader of a terminated tribe now heading up the agency that terminated the tribe. And it just was such a good feeling to see her leadership. And she was such a good mentor as a woman, as a Native woman who understood sovereignty. She was a social worker by training. And I've never seen anyone who was so, as Mary said, kind and generous and compassionate, but also incredibly determined. And I think nothing would stop her if there was a cause or a need for her to pursue. And so later in life, she kept on this work, just an illuminary in so many ways. She and Lucille Echohawk, who I think are very good friends, just are wonderful people, wonderful mentors, and a big loss of Ada Deer in our lives.
Yeah. Well, I only got the opportunity to meet her twice, and it's just within the year. When I got my picture with Obama, she was there when Obama was in Milwaukee, and as a Ho-Chunk legislator, I got to get a picture and talk to Obama for 13 seconds, and but she was there. She was there, and I got to meet her in person, and also she was really celebrated. I was MC at the Wisconsin Democratic Convention, and she was honored there, and really renowned in the state of Wisconsin and the Democratic Party too. Not only in Indian country, but that's good to see that people that are governmental officials in Wisconsin, and especially the Democrats, really loved her.
She was inducted into the National Native American Hall of Fame. I didn't know there was such a one. You may be in it soon, Robert.
Yeah.
But she truly was beloved by all, and really inspired so many young tribal leaders, like Mary was saying, especially women, to pursue their dream and represent their people and to push those issues.
Yeah. Wow. Really good words. And really, I'm glad we spent this week talking about her. We had Arvina Martin, who was the first Madison, Wisconsin city council native, and she's Ho-Chunk, and she was really pretty close with Miss Deer, and we've been talking a lot about her this week, and that's really good.
Yeah, we'll have to keep talking about her for sure. Go ahead, Haley.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think, we had Arvina on this past weekend, last week too, and Arvina was just talking about all the wonderful memories that they shared together at Ada's 88th birthday, which was just a couple weeks ago.
Right.
Yes. Here's a photo. You can't see it very well, but of me and Ada, and then there's Oneida, Leslie Wheelock, and then Mescaler Apache Butch Blazer. This is at
Wow.
USDA. So you can see she just lights up the room, right? She just
Yeah.
lights up everything.
Yeah, I was, you guys know me as the selfie king from way back, and of course, I got a picture with her and I. And one of the things that I saw on Facebook is that early on in her life, she was like one of the 5 Native American women to be, what was that, work in films. She was like in the movies, and I didn't even know that, like way back.
No, I didn't know
Yeah.
that either.
It's just
She
like,
had star power from the very beginning.
exactly. Well, we got like another minute here, State Senator. I know you guys want to get going. Any last thoughts? You're enjoying our clean water up there, and that's a very
Yeah.
important thing for us.
I just wanted to add something if I could. Yesterday was National Code Talker Day.
Oh yeah.
And I think we were looking at the numbers, and sadly, only 3 code talkers, at least Navajo code talkers, are left. There were Lakota code talkers, and I think Kiowa code talkers, and I'm sure other code talkers from tribes. But it reminds me of how special our native languages are.
Yep.
And that's something that ANA, the Administration for Native Americans, is really able to highlight with our grant funding. But we're also doing a really big national project to revitalize native languages across federal government. So Robert, maybe next time I could share some of those activities and really tell you about what work is going on and how incredibly important native languages are to our
Yes.
culture and our identity.
Absolutely, and let's do that. And I know Ho-Chunk has they're talking about naming a part of the highway after the Ho-Chunk code talkers too. So there was many
Nice.
nations all over Turtle Island that helped in World War II, and I think even World War One, if I'm reading.
Oh,
right.
wow. Yeah.
So hey, thank you so much. Let's talk again soon. This is Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and up next, Wendy with her sacred animal portion. We're going to be doing finishing up her list here. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
All right.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Eat Local Minnesota is a great way to find locally owned Minnesota restaurants and food purveyors. You'll find high-quality food and unique eating experiences with dishes from around the world. Just visit eatlocalminnesota.com for your next meal. Crooner Supper Club invites you to Maggie's Lounge, an exciting new bar lounge. It's open Wednesdays through Sundays beginning at 4:30 for cocktails and light fare. And you don't need a ticket to enjoy the great atmosphere of Maggie's. So stop by Crooner Supper Club off Moore Lake and Highway 65 for dinner, drinks, and live music from both big-name local and national artists. Cafe Latte combines a cafe dining experience with gourmet quality food. Plus, you can still do online ordering and takeout along with gift cards. Just go to cafelatte.com and choose from their ever-changing selection of award-winning salads, sandwiches, and soups. Cafe Latte is located off Victoria and Grand and online at cafelatte.com.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Yes, I wanted to put a little applause on that and didn't come out right. Hey, it's Fun Fact Friday with Wendy, and I know yesterday I wanted you to do the fun facts, but today is Fun Fact Friday, so welcome, Wendy, and please introduce yourself to our listening audience and watching audience.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani. That means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. And yes, today is Fun Fact Friday. So I've been picking off this list of 300 random animal facts, and we started from 300 and we're working our way to number 1.
And then what happens? We just start all over?
I guess we'll start all over because everybody will forget all the fun facts, right?
Like, where did I hear that before?
I know. Sometimes I say it and I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't remember if I just read that or if I said it on the air. So I'm sure I repeat myself a lot. But
I say that sometimes when I'm dreaming.
Right.
Go ahead.
I know. All right, we're going to start on 97 and work our way to number 1. The longest recorded lifespan of a slug was 1 year and 6 months.
Wow.
How do you suppose that they, found that out?
I don't know. I just got the drum.
I don't know. I think that they make this up. Some of them I skip. Some of them I skip because I don't like them. So.
Oh.
I'm using my own discretion here.
So it's really like 240.
It could be, or maybe less. No two tigers have the same stripes, and this is how individual tigers can be identified. It's like a fingerprint.
Wow.
Yeah. Chocolate, macadamia nuts, cooked onions, or anything with caffeine is harmful to dogs. I think I've mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good to bring that up.
Yeah, it is. And you should always look up something if you want to give your dog something. Just look it up and make sure it's safe because they can't metabolize food the same way we do.
Right. Don't try.
Fireflies do not bite or have pinchers. Fireflies are harmless. They don't even carry diseases.
And they don't really spark fire per se. That's not a spark when you see fireflies. That's some kind of
Electricity. We share 98.4% of our DNA with a chimp.
Well, that was before the aliens came and oh, never mind. That's a different show.
We share 70% of our DNA with a slug.
I know you do.
The fear of animals is called, do you have any idea, Robert?
No.
Okay. It's called, if you're afraid of animals, it's called zoophobia. So you're afraid to go to the zoo and you have phobia. And I just learned this pretty recently. Dogs have sweat glands in between their paws. That's so if they're really, really hot and they're sweating, then the first thing people normally want to do is take a wet paper towel or water and dump it on their back. But that could have the opposite effect and constrict their blood vessels and cause more harm than good. So you want to wrap their paws in wet paper towels and put the dog in the shade and give it lukewarm water to drink.
That's good to know because I think
and here's another one that I just remembered off the top of my head. If one dog is attacking another dog, the dog that's
this
attacking,
just went dark.
the dog that's attacking, you lift up their back feet and they'll stop because they can't attack if their back feet are off the ground.
Kind of the wagon wheel we
Like
did
a
as kids.
wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow
Yeah.
when we were kids.
Definitely. So you could do that too. Goats were the first animals domesticated by man in 10,000 BC.
So they were pets or?
I guess so.
Wow.
Hmm.
I don't know
Killer
what
whales are not whales at all, rather a species of dolphin.
do they kill?
That's an orca. A killer whale is an orca.
Oh.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's news to me. I'd have to
Highlight
look that
that
up.
one.
I'm not sure it's number 87. I think they're lying about that one. but
Okay.
We'll see.
So this segment is kind of Fun Facts Friday.
And maybe some lies too.
Yeah.
The most poisonous fish in the world is the stonefish.
I believe it.
I don't even know.
I've seen those. They look like they have acne.
Yeah. The phrase raining cats and dogs originated in the 17th century England. During heavy rainstorms, many homeless animals would drown and float down the streets.
What?
Giving the
Wait,
appearance
do you read these first?
that it had, well, I obviously didn't read that one.
I don't know if I want to hear this. It got dark again, the
It
radio
did
show.
during the so they drowned and they floated down the streets, giving the appearance that it had actually rained cats and dogs. That's a sad one.
Can you cross that one
That's
out?
really not a fun fact.
No,
Seriously.
I don't think that's a fact.
This
at all.
website, I don't know. On the average, cows poop 16 times a day.
That's about right where I'm at, too.
Mm-hmm. The most dogs ever owned by one person were 5,000 mastiffs owned by Kubla Khan.
Okay.
Whoever that was. Jaws is the most common name for a goldfish.
Since the movie, though, or the book, I should say that was first a book.
Lanomia oblique is the world's deadliest caterpillar.
Okay, I have no comment on that.
Yeah, I don't either. The ostrich has 2 toes on each foot, which gives it greater speed. I would think the
if I
more
cut off a
toes you
couple toes here, I could be faster.
if you cut off a snail's eye, it will grow a new one.
Got dark again.
I know I really should read these first. Let's
That's
see.
right. If you torture and cut off eyes of a snail,
This is not a good one either.
yeah, she's proofreading them now.
I am. In 2003, Dr. Roger Mugford invented the wagometer, a device that claims to interpret a dog's exact mood by measuring the wag of its tail. I don't think it was very popular because we would have heard more about the wagometer. They would have been selling it on Amazon for the low price of $19.99, and you could get it tomorrow between 5 and 10.
Free shipping.
A skunk will not bite and throw its scent at the same time.
Wow.
Deer can't eat hay.
Okay.
An elephant can smell water up to 3 miles away. I remember reading that one time. That's amazing.
Yeah. They need the water to take a shower.
Goats and sheep are seasonal breeders.
Well, yeah.
Oh, they got to get in the right mood in the right season. Reindeer milk has more fat than cow milk. Don't get any ideas, people.
Right.
George Washington's teeth were made of elephant ivory and walrus's tusks.
Is that real? Because I heard a whole bunch of different.
I heard his teeth were made of wood.
Yeah.
He had wooden.
I heard he could not tell a lie, and he cut down some cherry tree and.
Was that George Washington?
Yeah.
Oh. A moth has no stomach.
Don't need one.
Guess so. A garden caterpillar has 248 muscles in its head. Somebody must have dissected that. In the very first bomb that the aliens dropped.
The aliens?
Allies. The very first bomb that the Allies dropped on Berlin in World War II hit an elephant. That's another bad one.
What
Seriously.
the heck? We need to proofread the Fun
I
Facts
am.
Friday.
Okay, let's leave off on a good note. Most elephants weigh less than the tongue of a blue whale.
All right. Hey, thank you, Wendy, and great show today. Thank you, Senator Mary Kunesh and Patrice for stopping in. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier.
Have a good weekend, everyone.